When my daughter was born in St. Mary's Hospital, not far from here, 2 midwives were present who stayed with me throughout my labor, beyond the end of their shifts, late into the evening. I remember their gentleness, encouragement, and kindness. That's probably a little too much information for all of you, but I was reminded of them both as I began to think of your Torah portion, Scarlett, and of your specific decision to read these verses as you did so beautifully this morning, verses that highlight the role of 2 women at the beginning of the book of Exodus. Who were these midwives, and why did the Torah, usually so focused on the role of men, choose to highlight the significance of their role? And not only the midwives, but in this parashah, no less than 5 women, actually 6, but I'm leaving the 6th for the minute, play a key part in the survival of the male children, the rescue of Moses, and ultimately the exodus of the Israelites from Egypt. As we heard from you, Scarlett, the first 2 women are Shifra and Puah, summoned by the king of Egypt to drown the male babies born to Hebrew women. Various rabbinic traditions suggest that the 2 midwives were in fact Moses' mother and sister. Later on, we learn their names, Yocheved and Miriam. Miriam, of course, would have been all of 5 years old at the time, but she was assisting her mother at each of the births, said the rabbis. Another tradition claims that the 2 midwives were Moses' mother and his sister-in-law, Elisheva, who became the wife of his brother Aaron. We assume from the way they are described that the women are Hebrew midwives, but one tradition suggests that they were not from among the Hebrews, but in fact were Egyptian midwives who attended the births of the Hebrew women. Abarbanel, the 16th century Portuguese Bible commentator, alludes to this interpretation, asking, how could Pharaoh expect Hebrew women to kill Hebrew babies? If the midwives were Egyptian, their defiance against Pharaoh's decree shows considerable courage and integrity in going against their own regime. This may not be the plain meaning of the text, but it forces us to think about our own loyalties, about how far we would go to express our views when they're not in line with the majority. Both midwives dupe Pharaoh into believing that the Hebrew women are not like the Egyptian women. Ki lo hanashim hamitzriot ha'ivriot, ki chayot heina. For the Hebrew women are not like the Egyptian women. They give birth quickly and are delivered before the midwife can reach them. Even more challenging to think about is the description of the midwives who feared God. As Hebrew midwives, we might expect their loyalty to the God of their ancestors. But as Egyptian midwives, they disobey not only the political regime, but defy the religious creed and priestly institutions of Egypt. 3 other women play a significant role in these opening chapters of Exodus. Yocheved, the mother of Moses, sees how beautiful her newborn son is and hides him for 3 months. When she can no longer conceal him, she takes a wicker basket and puts the child into it, placing it among the reeds by the bank of the Nile. The baby's sister, whom we learn much later is named Miriam, stations herself at a distance to see what will become of him. both the mother and sister put themselves in considerable danger, the mother by saving her son, the sister by courageously addressing no less a person than the daughter of Pharaoh, who instructed her to stand watching her baby brother. There is no indication that either her mother or father sent her. Thus, says one commentator, this scene highlights Miriam's audacity and ingenuity. The fifth woman in this narrative is Pharaoh's daughter, who comes down from the palace to bathe in the River Nile. She sees the basket and sends one of her slave girls to fetch it. Miriam approaches the princess and offers to find a Hebrew nurse to suckle the child. She returns to her mother, who takes the child from Pharaoh's daughter and nurses him. Each of these 5 women, the 2 midwives, the mother and sister of Moses, the daughter of Pharaoh, are unafraid to challenge the genocidal decree of Pharaoh. In the Midrash, the imaginative rabbinical commentary to these stories, as the women take on these specific roles of leadership and defiance, the writers see a weakening and a sense of defeat among the Israelite men who separate themselves from their wives, not wanting to bring male children into the world. It is Miriam who challenges her own father, saying, "Your decree is harsher than that of Pharaoh, for Pharaoh decreed the elimination of the male children only, while you decree the elimination of male and female alike." We see here how power is mobilized, not by armies, not by brute force and destruction, but by the persuasive words and actions of the women. They are not afraid to stand up against the authority of fathers, rulers, or kings. They do not give in to despair, or what Timothy Snyder calls a politics of eternity, in which the threats of the past are ever present, where progress gives way to doom, where truth is suppressed and progress undone. While Pharaoh's reason for enacting his decree is because he fears the Israelites will join with his enemies and defeat Egypt in war, so numerous have they become, these women are able to create a different narrative. They are motivated not by fear or hatred, but by reverence for a higher moral power, by compassion, providing a protective presence for women about to give birth, by their willingness and bravery in finding ways around the inexorability of the decree. These women are driven by love, intelligence, and compassion, the love of a mother for her son, the quick-witted intelligence of the baby's sister, the pity felt by Pharaoh's daughter for the child crying in its wicker basket. Notice how these women reclaim from their male leaders the totality of love, of a truth that is impregnated with mercy and grace. These are the qualities that will lead to redemption. The women may not be aware of the momentous events that are about to take place in Egypt, freedom from slavery, the enactment of the Exodus from Egypt. Their actions are small steps. They work together, 2 midwives, whom the Midrash say represented a whole guild, the mother and daughter, the Egyptian princess and her maidens. These are stories that are full of possibility and hope. They lay the foundation for ethical monotheism that is central to Judaism, a morality of love, compassion, justice, and truth that is rooted in faith, in the belief that every act of life is sanctified, imbued with a religious spirit. Human longing and experience, combined with the immeasurable goals of joy and gratitude, companionship, a sense that there is something more than the material goals of power, greed, ambition, money. This is the essence of what it means to fulfill our role as Jews in the world today, to embrace ethical monotheism. Scarlett, from the moment you stepped into my class in September 2023, eager to embrace your Jewish heritage and to express that by learning and preparing for your bat mitzvah today, you were at home and happy in the synagogue. I was so impressed by how quickly you made friends, by your enthusiasm, your energy, your vivacity. With your teacher Leah, you have become proficient in Hebrew, but also deeply engaged, as we heard, with the themes of your Torah portion. You demonstrated this in your Devar Torah. It has been an absolute pleasure for both Leah, Rabbi Igor, and me to get to know you and to appreciate your qualities of enthusiasm, intelligence, and open-heartedness, all those qualities of those 5 women combined in one person sitting in front of me. I know you are looking forward to Kabbalat Torah, to our trip to Amsterdam, to becoming a teaching assistant, and I hope helping with Tiny Tots. You have brought your whole family into this community of the LJS, and I thank you for that. May you continue to be a blessing to your family and to the whole Jewish community throughout your life. Amen.
Amen.
Now, here I have for you a gift from the